Let's get to a game that everyone is going to be watching. Miami Dolphins and the Baltimore Ravens. Dolphins head on the road as 3.5 point dogs to the Ravens. 46.5 to 47 is your total. Stephen, the big news here in this one is the fact that Jalen Waddle not going to be out there for the Dolphins in this one. It seems that seems to be the case. I don't know if it's official yet, but it does not seem that he's going to be out there.
Official.
Yeah. So Waddle not going to be out there for the Dolphins in this one. So you start to look around, and Zay Flowers likely to not be out there for the Ravens either. But if we're talking about importance to a team, I think Waddle certainly is a guy that you would say is probably much more important to this Dolphins team, especially considering that we do have Tyreek Hill that is still nursing that ankle injury.
I want to start with the Ravens here, kind of big picture. And Todd Furman had a great tweet this week that kind of put what the Ravens have done this year into context. They are 9-3 versus winning teams this season, and they've outscored those teams in those games by 148 points. That's tied for the best point differential versus winning teams in a season in NFL history. They could become the third team since 1970 to lead in the final 2 minutes of every game. The others were the 72 Dolphins and the 2007 Patriots. And they have had the most time leading through 15 games since the 2007 Patriots. Kind of amazing. And at the same time, I'm going to go back to what Adam said earlier this week about not adjusting the 49ers rating whatsoever after that loss. And meanwhile, the Ravens have had their rating adjusted up a little bit here. The look ahead here in the opener was 3. We can get 3.5 here. And I feel like I'm taking the bait a little bit, but I'm going to bet Miami in this game to cover 3.5. I think the hook is too much here. And there's a couple of reasons why. I mentioned the turnovers not being predictive and the fact that the Niners were still able to move the ball at will. The other side here is that I think the Dolphins are better equipped to mitigate the Ravens' pass rush than the Niners were with Brock Purdy, especially when Trent Williams went out of the game. Brock Purdy ranks number 24 in the NFL in the amount of time he holds the ball from snap to throw, 2.86 seconds. Tua's number 1 in the league. He's Tom Brady-esque. He only holds the ball for 2.37 seconds. That, to me, helps a lot in this game against the potential Ravens pass rush. So I admittedly feel like I might have a blind spot for the Ravens here because I keep trying to sell high on them and they keep, slapping me in the face. But I at least wanted to start with that context of what they've done overall as a season here. And perhaps we're trying to sell high on a team that's better than we all think they are.
Adam, again, there's a difference in numbers, and we just say that all the time, right? I mean, it is a 3 and a 3.5. So shop around depending on which way you want to go with this one. I think that the total is fairly interesting too, because you basically play out a game script in your head where it's sitting at 47, and at 47, you are having to tell yourself of a game in which both teams are actually able to move the ball up and down the field, which we do have 2 really good offenses and 2 really highly rated offenses, or you tell the tale of 2 offenses that might struggle as they go up against some defenses that have been playing very well.
Well, let's dig into the numbers a little bit on that, Matt, because I do think if there's one way to play this game, it is under. We talk so much about the Ravens defense, and we're going to talk about them rightly after what they did to Brock Purdy last week. We don't talk as much about the Miami defense. And the Miami defense over the second half of the season is number 1 in the league in EPA per play allowed. They are second against the rush. They are 4th against the pass. They are good everywhere. But where's the leak when it comes to this game for Baltimore, right? We know how good the Baltimore defense has been overall. But the leak for Baltimore, second half of the season, this Baltimore team is second to last. They are 31st in rush EPA allowed. They are 31st in success rate. And what we know about Mike McDaniel is he will find your weakness and he will make you pay for it. And Raheem Mostert and Devin Achane are both supposed to be good to go, according to Mike McDaniel today, even though both of them have been nursing injuries. So Raheem Mostert right now, his rushing yards are sitting 45.5. And what we know about this Miami Dolphins offense is that when the rush is good, the rush is explosive. It could only take him one play to get to 46 yards. I think Miami's going to lean into the run in this game. I think that is going to put this toward the under. I also think that I like better the idea of playing over Miami rushing props because of what has been the weakness of this Baltimore defense.
I went ahead and played the 3 on the Ravens. And for me, it was based pretty much off of the injury report for the Dolphins. I figured this thing would move through 3 if it went against them. So I was trying to kind of get ahead of the move. Waddle getting ruled out for sure. The other thing that, we talk about a lot on this podcast, but a lot of people like just focus on the skill position players, but this offensive line is pretty beat up for the Dolphins. And it is an offensive line that has been, with all 5 starters on and off of the injury report over the last couple of weeks. And so for a Ravens team that doesn't get much pressure as it is right now, like having a banged up offensive line might actually help them get a little bit more pressure on Tua than it is already. And we know, they have been very, very good at getting the ball out of Tua's hands very fast, but that's been with Waddle and Tyreek Hill on the field all season long, right? I mean, now we're talking definitely no Waddle, a hampered Tyreek Hill, and I just don't know if the offense functions as smoothly. So with that, I went with the Ravens at 3 based off of the Dolphins offense not being able to produce at the level that we've seen over the course of the season. If that is to be the case, I think it's the right side. If we go out here and Tyreek Hill is, they throw it to him 18 times in this game and he catches 14 of them for 178 yards or something like that, then, the handicap goes out the window. But I think that it's not the Dolphins that we know and love that's heading into Baltimore this week.
To put something contextually to that, after Waddle went out, second half last week, once they got Tyreek Hill worked in, he had 7 catches in the second half against Dallas last week. So I do think there's at least a path if you're thinking about the way to play Tyreek Hill. The other thing I'll mention is if you want something a little longer shot, same thing I just said about Josh Allen. Matt, you talk all the time about how you want to see a clear path to an MVP vote. It's right there for Tua in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He's going to have the opportunity to play his way to an MVP, and he's 10-1 at the moment. And so I think that price is a little high for a guy whose path is as clear as it is.
Yeah. Hey, can I add a prop here real quick too? Adam
Shoot.
talked about the potential rushing advantage here for Miami. I don't understand why you can still get plus money on Raheem Mostert to score a touchdown. He has 21 touchdowns this year. He's scored in like all but 2 games this year. Like Christian McCaffrey's basically done the same thing. He's minus 200 every week. I don't understand why Mostert is plus money to score a touchdown at this point.
No, I think that's fair for sure. We know when they get inside the 3, I mean, he's just the dude, right? He's the dude that they call on. So I don't hate that one at all, Stephen. Good find there.